He was a medical student, engaged to be married, with a future that looked perfect on the surface. But behind a laptop screen, he became something else entirely. This is the chilling true story of Philip Markoff, known to the world as the Craigslist Predator. Before we begin, make sure to like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to our channel for more real-life true crime stories, documentaries, and unsolved mysteries. Now, let's get into it. Philip Markoff was born in 1986 and appeared to live an ordinary, even impressive life. He was a second-year medical student at Boston University, known for being intelligent and well-spoken. To top it all off, he was engaged to his longtime girlfriend, Megan McAllister. Friends and classmates described him as quiet, polite, and completely focused on his future career as a doctor. From the outside, he was the model student, the loving fiancé, the person you'd never suspect of anything sinister. No one around him had any idea that he was hiding a dark and dangerous secret. While he spent his days studying complex medical procedures, Philip Markoff was spending his nights leading a secret double life online, specifically on the website Craigslist. Back then, Craigslist had a very popular, and now defunct, section for personal ads and adult services. It was in this digital space that Markoff allegedly began his descent. He would use these ads to contact women offering various services, arranging to meet them at upscale hotels in the Boston area. He lured his victims under false pretenses, making them believe it was a standard client meeting. But these meetings were never about companionship. They were about power, control, theft, and instilling terror. In April of 2009, a disturbing pattern began to emerge. Police in the Boston area started connecting a series of terrifying incidents, all taking place in high-end hotels. One woman came forward after a harrowing experience. She reported being tied up, robbed at gunpoint, and threatened by a man she met through a Craigslist ad. Her survival and her courage to speak out were crucial. But just a few days later, the situation escalated into a tragedy. Jalissa Brisman, a 26-year-old aspiring model and masseuse from New York City, traveled to Boston for a client she also met on Craigslist. She was later found unresponsive in her Copley Marriott hotel room, having been brutally attacked. Tragically, she later passed away from her injuries. Another woman would come forward, reporting that she fought off an attacker in a similar hotel encounter. The pattern was becoming horrifyingly clear. A predator was using Craigslist as a hunting ground. Investigators began piecing together the evidence. They noticed several key similarities across the cases. The attacks all happened in hotels, the victims were all contacted through Craigslist, the perpetrator used zip ties as restraints, and specific items were stolen. But the biggest break in the case came from hotel security footage. The cameras captured a tall, clean-cut, blonde man entering and leaving the hotels around the times the attacks occurred. This visual evidence gave police a face to look for. They immediately launched a massive digital investigation, meticulously tracking phone records, email addresses, and IP activity associated with the Craigslist ads. Every digital breadcrumb, every piece of electronic data, slowly but surely started to point towards one single, very unexpected suspect, the promising medical student, Philip Markoff. The arrest was as dramatic as the crimes themselves. On April 20, 2009, Philip Markoff and his fiancée were driving on a highway just outside Boston when they were suddenly surrounded by law enforcement. He was taken into custody without a fight. The image was jarring. The man training to save lives was now a suspect in taking one. Police immediately executed a search warrant on the apartment he shared with his fiancée. Inside, they reportedly discovered a trove of damning evidence. They found restraints, including the same kind of zip ties used on the victims. They found a handgun hidden inside a hollowed-out Grey's Anatomy textbook. They also found items believed to belong to the victims and a laptop containing digital evidence that directly linked him to the Craigslist messages. The public was stunned. The story exploded in the media, which quickly branded him the Craigslist Killer. The nickname stuck, though many now prefer the term Craigslist Predator to avoid glorifying the violence. His arrest sparked a nationwide conversation about the dangers of the internet, about trusting strangers you meet online, and about how easily even the most normal-seeming people can hide monstrous secrets. The shock was most profound for those who knew him. How could the quiet, dedicated student they saw every day be capable of such disturbing crimes? His fiancée, who had once defended him, reportedly ended their engagement soon after the arrest, canceling the wedding that was just months away. While awaiting trial at the Nashua Street Jail, Philip Markoff pleaded not guilty to all charges. The world watched, waiting for a trial that was expected to finally reveal the full story. Everyone wanted answers. What were his motivations? What was his psychological state? Were there more victims out there who hadn't come forward? The prosecution was building a powerful case, and it seemed justice was on the horizon, but that trial would never happen. On August 15, 2010, almost a year and a half after his arrest, Philip Markoff was found unresponsive in his jail cell. Authorities later confirmed that his passing was a self-inflicted incident. He had reportedly used materials available to him in his cell. His death was as calculated as his crimes. He had even used his own blood to write messages on the wall and arranged photos of his former fiancée so he could see them. With his death, the case came to a shocking and abrupt end. The many questions surrounding his actions went with him to the grave. The victims and their families were denied the closure of a public trial and the justice they deserved. We may never fully understand the darkness that lived inside Philip Markoff or what drove a man with such a bright future to commit such terrible acts. His story serves as a chilling reminder of the hidden dangers that can lurk behind a screen and the devastating impact of a double life. Thank you for watching. If you found this story compelling, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing for more true crime content. Stay safe out there.